Hello, I'm Scott with Shoms Photography, and today we're going to talk about the Godox MS300. I had a few of these sent to me, and I figured I'd do a review on them. So straight before you know, I don't want this to be any kind of bias video. I'm not trying to sell you these products. Even though these were sent to me, I'm going to give you an honest opinion. Over here is Godox first original strobes. This is the BY180B. Now these are about 17 years old. I got these because some guy said that no one could take good pictures with cheap Chinese strobes, and I got them just to prove a point. And I bought these Godox 180s before Godox became a name brand in photography. Very inexpensive strobe, has a halogen modeling light. It has a little dial back here. Nothing fancy, nothing exciting back here. Pretty much a cheap Chinese strobe. And it does have a slave cell, and it does have a sync port where you can actually use the RT16's cabled Godox transmitter or receiver and plug in here to sync up with this, or you can just use a slave cell. And just like this one, compared to this one, when you turn the power up and you fire it, and then you turn down the power, you have to actually fire it again to get to the power that's below it. So I'll explain that more on that one. But again, we'll just do a couple test shots. And since this one does not have a beep sound, the only way you can tell this is fully recharged or fully recycled is the little green light in the back. Because again, if I turn it to full power and I just rapidly fire it, it's going to fire, but it's not firing out at the full power that you'd want it to. So let's turn this off to the side. This brings us over to the MS300, which I brought this one out also to compare the size, so you can see the size differences. This one comes with a 150 watt modeling light, which is nice. It's not super bright, but it works. Here you can see the bulb out here, the tube, flash tube, it's extended away from the body. That is so that you can get as much out of that flash tube into the modifier, just like the old CL600s or the RSP600s is what they were called by Godox. The flash tubes were extended from the body, so they actually would be out past the Bowen mount and then be into the modifier. Again, this is a Bowen mount front. This one here is actually a universal mount where actually the modifiers would slide over and screw on to the head, and this one is a little bit more functional because most of all my stuff is Bowen's mount and not the little universal mount setup. And again, this will not handle a lot of weight. Let's flip this around to the back. We have our dial and we have our annoying beep. Now, if you want that beep on, say these were your background lights and you're using 600s in the front as your main light and your fill light, it's less time to recycle those compared to this one at full power, and those are only going to be at quarter power. So you might want to leave the beep on, so then that way you know when you can actually fire the next shot, because these have a 1.8 recycling time at full power if you're using them at full power. Let's turn that beep off. And just like I said, if I'm at full power, we'll fire it. But if I turn it down, that light's going to blink, and you have to test fire the shot to get it to be the power for the next shot to be this power right here that's reading on the screen. Here's your modeling light. This is adjusted by the output of your strobe, or you can click it again, and this will be by percentage. So you can leave it, whoops, gotta click the button. And then it'll be bright, dim, down to 100 to Again, if you want to know all the functions on this, I would highly recommend watching Robert Hall's video that explains all these buttons. Again, he'll explain over the channel button, the slave cell button, the volume or the beep button, so we won't even get into that. We have our slave cell up here on the top. We have our sync cable here on the side. If you're using a different manufacturer's lights as a main, you can always use a slave or you can use the sync cable. Here we have our USB cable or USB connection here for like the 488 megahertz system if you didn't want to use the 2.4 gigahertz system. When you go into channels, it gives you the dummy dip switch little display. So if you're using like the XT16 that runs with the dip switches, then you can actually set them up through that way so that you know you're on the right channel. All in all, this is a nice little small compact portable strobe for your studios, or taking them out to do a corporate shot. You can throw these in a bag, and again, they're small, light, compact, and if you don't want to keep recharging your batteries, this is a good little unit. It can be fired using, here's the XT16, XT32, you got the Pro, and you have the X1. And then you can get the Flashpoint Mark II, Pro Mark II, which has a lot more features than this one here. So if you're looking for upgrading your system, I would get the XPro Mark II because gives you Bluetooth, plus you can fire your strobes independently, set your modern lights independently, your beep sounds independently, where these don't. Again, if you're looking for something small, compact to store in your studio, these might be a good option for you. Again, I'm going to recommend them, but again, I'm not trying to sell anything, so it's up to you if you want to purchase one of these or not. Again, my name is Scott with Shoms Photography, and thank you for watching.